Recording a podcast with all kinds of super fancy gear is really fun, but what if all that you have is your phone? This looks like a sponsored video, but I promise you it's not. Although I did actually get this for free, and it is the Rode SC6L mobile interview kit. Here's the thing, I do really like Rode. I've made lots of videos about Rode stuff, but they do really cool things. There's pretty much always a contest going on for Rode. Sometimes it's video, sometimes it's audio. They have really good prizes. Last spring they did a podcast competition, which I completely lost really badly, but the first 300 people to enter got this, which is super cool, and I didn't know what it was, and it's nothing that I would have actually shopped for myself because I didn't even know it existed. But now that I have it, I've been using it so much for the past like 4 months. And what it is, inside this box, you get a little pouch, and inside that pouch are a couple of microphones and an adapter. And what this does is it lets you record 2 microphone inputs directly into your iPhone. You have this little adapter that plugs into your phone, and then you have 2 TRSS Rode lavalier microphones that can be plugged into channels 1 and 2. Then once you have your 2 microphone inputs, there is actually a 3.5mm headphone jack, so you can even monitor your audio while you're recording it into your phone. And this is actually a really cool setup, and it works great for podcasting. I've also been using it a lot for video because I don't have a wireless microphone system. And so when I'm out away from a microphone like this, I've just been keeping my phone in my pocket with one of these microphones plugged in, and then it works really well if I'm not able to be near the camera or near a microphone. But the reason I wanted to talk about this specifically is because in my review of the Rodecaster Pro, which is a really great podcast audio mixer recorder, one of the things I said was that you shouldn't let equipment stop you from recording a podcast. And if all that you have is your phone, that's a great place to get started. And on that video, I've gotten lots of comments where people are talking about using their phone to record podcasts. So I wanted to explore that a little bit, especially because I didn't know this was a thing that existed. I knew you could plug in microphones to iPhones, but I didn't know there was a whole adapter that lets you plug in multiple channels plus a headphone. So this is basically how it works. I don't know exactly which model the microphones are that this comes with, but they look a lot like the microphones that are now shipping and being used with the Wireless Go, Rode's wireless microphone setup. So I think they're pretty similar. You could use your own, and the adapter by itself retails for about $80 on a lot of websites, which seems like a lot of money, and it is, but it does give you a lot of options. And then decent lavalier microphones can range from anywhere from, $20 or $30 up to any amount of money you want to spend, because they can get very expensive. So I believe that this whole mobile interview kit with the adapter and the 2 microphones usually retails for about $200. But if you think about what it lets you do, now you can record 2 channels of audio directly into your phone, and then you can export that to your computer, or you can even edit it directly on your phone and then post it directly to a podcast app like Anchor. So this does make it where the phone in your hand is all that you need to record and produce a podcast. So it eliminates a lot of friction between your idea and a finished product. And the way that I've been recording everything with this little interview kit is through Rode's Reporter app, which is actually pretty cool. It's a little buggy. I'll get into that in a second, but for the most part, it's a super solid app. So when you open it, you get this record screen, and then there are 3 sections down at the bottom. There's a library where all of your recorded audio will go. There's the actual record screen, and then there are some settings where you can kind of deep dive and really adjust your audio quality in a way that I'm impressed by. And then right using that, you can just hit record, and it's going to record with the iPhone's built-in microphone. If you plug in the little adapter, the SC6L adapter, as soon as you'll plug it in, up at the top, you'll see now a configure option for this adapter, and this gives you more options. You can adjust your input level, you can adjust your direct monitor, so the headphones that you're listening to, which can be kind of nice sometimes. You can even adjust whether your channels are combined or separate. So you have these 2 microphones. By default, they're combined into one stereo file where both voices are on the left and the right, but you could do them separately, which means one microphone will be on the left and one microphone will be on the right. I'm not 100% sure why you would want to do that. I always just do it combined, but it's really cool to have that flexibility, because I don't know what you're gonna do with this thing, and that might be something that is really helpful. As soon as I plug in the microphones, then you'll start getting an input level. And then all I'd have to do is start recording, and you'll see little audio waveforms pop up, you'll hear my voice, and then you're good to go. You can pause it, you can continue recording. When you're done, you just press end, and then it goes into your library. And from there, you can export it out into your phone or to your computer or to whatever app you want to work with it. So it's actually a really cool, really simple interface. It does have a few quirks. It's a little bit buggy. I've noticed that a lot of times once you stop recording and you go into the library and then you go back to record, it didn't do it this time, but sometimes that will cause the app to crash. The good news is I've never had the app stop recording or crash while it was running. That's only ever happened like in between recordings to me. While I've had it recording, even if I've been going for a long time while filming a video or something, it just keeps going, and it seems to be super reliable in that regard. And that's really important because if you're recording a podcast with someone, you don't want to get through a 45-minute interview and realize that this thing stopped recording after 6 minutes and then everything is just gone. So I've never had anything like that happen. The other thing is the input level seems to be super sensitive on here. And usually on most audio mixers and meters that I've used, -12 is located right at where green becomes yellow. And that's usually where you want your audio levels to kind of even out, especially for voice. What I've noticed with this is that anytime you get into the yellow at all, you start getting some clipping and it sounds like there's a little too much gain. So it seems like it has a really, I don't know, hot input, for lack of a better phrase. And I've just known that now to make sure it sounds good, I have to kind of keep the recording input level lower than I normally would on another mixer or another recorder. But so far, those are the only quirks that I've noticed with this app. Otherwise, it works really well. It is free, so you could get it and just start using it right now with whatever you have on your phone. I'm sure it would work with other microphones you plug in or the phone directly. And that's what I really want to see, and that's what I want to show you is what does this sound like when compared to other bits of audio recording. So let's compare the audio quality of this mobile interview kit to other microphones. Right now you're listening to audio from the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, which is located just out of the shot. And this is the microphone I use when recording pretty much all of my videos. But let's switch over to the Rodecaster Pro. So now you're listening to the Rodecaster Pro through the Rode PodMic. Gosh, there's a lot of Rode products in here. And this is a setup that's designed specifically for podcasting and audio and voice, so it should sound pretty darn good. But that's also what this mobile interview kit is set up for. So let's switch over right now to the Rode SC6L mobile interview kit, and you can hear what my voice sounds like there. So we went from the Rode VideoMic Pro to the Rode PodMic into the Rodecaster, and now just into one of the Rode lavalier mics directly into my iPhone and the Reporter app. And you can hear the difference between all those sources. They should be pretty decent, and I've been using this, like I said, for video quite frequently, and no one has ever commented on it or even noticed. So I figured that that's a good thing because it doesn't stand out as being any different from the microphones I normally use. Oh, see, the app just crashed right when I stopped recording on the phone and clicked end. But if I open the app, it still actually saved the file. So it did crash when I was done recording, but it didn't lose the file or anything. That's what I was talking about when I said that it crashes sometimes. The other thing you can use if you want to record a podcast are just the earbuds that come with your phone. So if I plug in these iPhone earbuds, and now this is what it sounds like just using my earbud microphone here. So this can kind of be sort of helpful. This almost works like a lavalier mic. If you don't keep the earbuds in your ear, you can kind of talk to it and then move it to another person. That's like a little bit super low budget, but you know, it works and it gets the job done. And that's the most important thing is, are you able to make what you need to make with these tools? AirPods and wireless headphones. I haven't been able to get the Rode Reporter app to work with AirPods or wireless headphones. So just to recap a little bit, this is me recording with the earpods and the built-in microphone on those. And now this is me recording directly into the phone's microphone. And finally, this is using the SC6L mobile interview microphone kit. So you can kind of decide if you think there is a difference, what the difference is, if it's worth it, if it's not worth it. I think that it's really cool. And even though it's something that I didn't know existed before I had it, I would actually use it, and I do actually use it. In fact, since these microphones wrap up so small, and the whole kit can fit inside this little pouch that it comes with, the whole thing ends up being really small. So what I've been doing for the past few months is just keeping this in my bag whenever I go somewhere. So it just kind of lives in my camera bag or my overnight bag if we go on a trip, because you kind of never know. If I go to a conference somewhere and I meet someone that's like, oh man, it'd be really cool to record a podcast together. Cool. Like, let's just go find a corner to sit in and talk for a bit and do that. Or if I'm giving a presentation at a conference and suddenly I decide like, oh, I want to record this, I can just have the microphone running directly into my phone and record it. There have been so many times when Heather and I are on car rides and we get into these conversations and they seem really interesting, and when we're done, we're like, oh man, that would have been like a super fun podcast to record. Oh well, now this is just right there, and I can say, hey, let's just record it as a podcast right now. Now this is the driving while talking test, and this might seem like kind of a pointless test, because how often are you going to be recording or podcasting while driving? I don't know, but I do know that it is not uncommon to do what I'm doing right now and want to talk to a camera while you're driving, and it's nice to have a good audio source while doing that. But also, like I mentioned earlier in the video, Heather and I do a lot of driving. One thing I was always curious about with this was like, could it be possible to drive in a car and record and get good quality audio? Or again, if you're just doing something like a vlog or a video and you need a car scene, is this going to give you good audio much better than just a camera? So I'm using the GoPro to film this right now. This is the GoPro's microphone that you're hearing right now. And this is the mobile interview kit. The other thing I'm curious about with a car test is I live in the desert and it is right now 107 degrees. I don't have the air conditioner on because it's loud, but it is not realistic to keep driving in 107 degree weather. So this is audio directly from the GoPro, my camera that I'm using, with the air conditioner on, so you're probably hearing a lot of that air noise. And now this is audio directly from the mobile interview kit with the microphone that's much closer to me, and hopefully it's cutting down quite a bit on that air conditioner sound, especially because these microphones do have the little windscreens on them, so it should actually make a bit of a difference. So again, I don't know how practical this is, but it is called a mobile interview kit, and I don't know of anything more mobile than driving. And again, what I've been doing is just keeping this with me, keeping this in my camera bag, keeping this just near me when I travel places, because you never know when something's gonna pop up that you're gonna record, especially if you're doing any video. Audio is half of your video, and if this can help you get better quality audio in any way, especially just using something you have next to you, I think it's super worth it. My goal here is to kind of give you an overview of everything from typical video production audio to dedicated podcast audio, and now to mobile audio, or even just using the phone that you have. Not only so you can hear the difference between all these things, but more importantly, to emphasize the fact that regardless of whether you have a big equipment setup or you're just working with what you got, you shouldn't let the equipment get in the way of you actually making a thing. The number one thing I would say with my YouTube channel, with podcasts, when I talk to other people about it, is the biggest regret is that they didn't start earlier. So if you're just constantly waiting until you have the perfect equipment, the perfect microphone, the perfect whatever, that's probably never gonna happen. So just grab what you have, do the best you can with it, and then upgrade as you need to as time goes on. But don't let equipment stop you from getting started. And there are so many tools that make everything so much more accessible right now. And in fact, if you want to check out more of those reviews, I have my Rodecaster Pro interview, and I also compared the Rode Pod mic against the Shure SM7B, which is a pretty legendary vocal microphone. So go ahead and check those videos out, and I will see you over there.